Well, welcome to another episode of GRUKology. I've got a couple of friends with me. My name is Darren Moore. I'm one of the GRUKology guys and minister at Chelmsford Presbyterian Church. And I'm being joined with Andy Stelmasiak and Andrew Graham. So probably best for you to introduce yourselves. So why don't we start with you, Andrew?
So I'm Andrew Graham, and I am the minister of Bethel Presbyterian Church in Cardiff, which is a congregation of the Evangelical Presbyterian Church in England and Wales. And also for today's podcast, it's relevant. I'm the convener of the Church Planting Committee for EPCEW.
Great. And Andy, tell us who you are.
Hello, everybody. My name is Andy Stelmasiak, or Andy. That's usually easier to pronounce. Like Darren and Andrew, I'm a minister at EPCEW, ministering out of bounds for another week, well, less than a week, in a congregational church near Coventry. And next week we are heading to Poland to be involved in church planting with EPCEW there.
Great. So I'll get to Poland in a moment. Andrew, you chair church planting. So tell us a bit about what that involves, what kind of the plan is, if there is one, for our presbytery and planting.
Good. I think we do have a plan, and that may come as a surprise to some people, but we have a 2-year vision, a 5-year vision, and a 10-year vision. Our denomination has been taken up with a lot of things over the last few years, and they've been important things to the denomination. But getting church planting back on the map is very much our desire. So we're delighted with the church plant that's taking place in Lublin. And there are other areas that we're looking at. We're also looking to support and resource our present church plants, of which we have a good number. And then in 5 years, continuing that vision of planting across the United Kingdom. And also over the next 5 to 10 years, increasing the opportunities are opening up for church planting in Europe, such as what's going on in Lublin. We have some congregations in the German-speaking world. There seems to be a growing desire for church planting in the German-speaking world, Reformed Presbyterian work. And we didn't go looking for this, but guys have come from Europe, contacted us, and are keen to be part of our presbytery. They believe in what we're doing, and we're grateful for that. And we're forming good partnerships with what's going on.
And it's also making an acronym even more obscure, isn't it? So with the Evangelical Presbyterian Church of England and Wales, with congregations in Sweden, Germany, Switzerland, and soon to be Poland, and who knows where else next. So it's going to get a mouthful soon, but that's who we are. Just also I have another hat that I sometimes wear, which is EMF, European Mission Fellowship. So Andy's been accepted as a EMF mission partner. So EMF is a broadly Reformed, so Reformed Baptist, Presbyterian churches in the UK, in Great Britain, Northern Ireland, supporting churches across the continent in church planting and so forth. So we normally give people a 5-year or 10-year plan, hoping that they'll be self-sufficient. I think what is distinctive about EMF is that it focuses on indigenous planters. So in this case, a Polish person planting in Poland, rather than sending one of us over to do that. So it's been really encouraging the last few years, seeing more and more relatively young planters across Europe, Reformed churches, Reformed Baptist churches, Presbyterian churches. So it's been really encouraging to see, and people have a real vision for that, and EMF can provide some experience and pastoral support. And we'll come back to something about that a bit later. But Andy, tell us a bit about your plans, where you're going. People have probably picked up the Poland thing, but where are you going? When you're going? And why are you going there? Why are you going to Lublin of all places? Tell us a bit about what's on the horizon.
Well, that's a big question.
Yeah, we can break it down a bit.
Yeah. After finishing pastorate here, I'm going to be moving to Poland next week. My wife and children are already there. And we are going to Lublin. Why Lublin? Well, that's one of the largest cities in Poland, and the most important city in what is called Eastern Poland. So if you can draw a mental map where you have Poland and Warsaw, the capital, kind of in the center, and you draw a line to Europe halfway through it, halfway between Warsaw and Ukraine, you're going to have Lublin. Why Lublin? Well, it's one of the, as I said, largest cities, but not only that. It's a key academic and cultural and political city for that region. I think that the simplest answer is that it's severely underchurched, and gospel witness is barely existing or barely non-existent, depending how we want to look at it.
Yeah, that really struck me when you spoke at the presbytery and you were here at our church here in Chelmsford last week talking about the work, and the numbers are quite striking, aren't they? Because here in England, I mean, most of England we'd say is underserved with evangelical churches, particularly if you're thinking in more reformed terms. But it's very striking in Poland, isn't it? I mean, it's a fraction of what we have here.
Oh, absolutely.
And I think, and that side of Poland is even bleaker.
Yes.
So you have a connection with a church in Gdańsk, but that's quite a long way, isn't it?
Yeah, there are 4 Presbyterian churches in the whole country, and they form a denomination. One in Gdańsk, that's Baltic seashore. 2 in Warsaw, and they are the closest to us because it's something like 100 miles distance, and 1 in Krakow. That's about it. And actually, in God's providence, they were thinking about we would like to plant somewhere, and they have thought about all the places where it would be great and strategically important for the next church to be planted, and they thought about 2 cities. One of them was Lublin, and they thought, how on earth we are going to get there? We on the map, and everything looks like this is the next place to go, but we have no way of doing it. And then I was put in touch with the guys and said, actually, I'm going to Lublin. So as you just said, Darren, so the average for evangelical witness, and it's a broadly evangelical witness, it's 0.3%. That's 3 out of 1,000 for the whole population. And I believe that there's only 6 countries in Africa that have less number than that. Lublin, despite of its strategic importance and 9 universities, and you would think that something is going to be happening there. Actually it's not. It's 3 times less, 0.1%. So 1 person out of 1,000 is going to describe herself as an evangelical. But if you would take out of the equation those that are liberal or charismatic, um, then you end up with something like 100 people in a 500,000 people city, which is 15 times
Yeah.
below the national average. The figures are just unbelievably low.
Yeah, they are, and something I've noticed with EMF is that obviously some of the missionaries we support there are Baptists. So it's not just we're saying there's only this handful of Presbyterian churches. There's only a handful of anything that's sort of conservative evangelical.
Absolutely.
It's very, very small.
Yeah, it is very
Um,
small. So Lublin is like a capital for Eastern Poland. And it's combined of 4 counties, and they have the same size roughly as Scotland. And there are
mm,
where you have to travel like an hour and a half, 2 hours to get to the closest non-Roman Catholic or non-Eastern Orthodox church, and there are no guarantees that actually is going to be a spiritually safe place. So
yeah,
yeah,
and it's enormous need. And normally, when we plant in England, we normally try to establish, even if it's a very small, but a core team. So, in terms of transfer growth, in terms of a core team, um, your wife Joanna is there with your 3 young children. You're about to go. Um, who's the team? Who do you start with at the beginning?
well, you're looking at the team.
Right, that's why I ask. Yeah,
Yeah.
so,
Uh,
so we're talking about really very virtually ground zero evangelism here, aren't we?
Absolutely. So my mum, she's a believer. She's going to join us, and we hope that my sister and her family do. Um,
Mm,
but the great news is that when I began to send prayer letters, one of the most important things was that the Lord would raise a co-worker.
mm,
Um, and after what 6 months or so, um, yeah, I was pointed to a young man who was going to. He's a member of Krakow Presbyterian Church. He is finishing seminary this year, and yeah, he wants to come and join Lublin after doing
mm.
some studies at Westminster Seminary UK. And he's, one of those guys in Krakow that are really the engines for evangelism. So it's great.
So you're going to be better staffed than Andrew or I are straight away. So
Yeah,
um,
absolutely.
that,
I think that one of the things that struck me, Darren, when Andy came to speak to our congregation here in Cardiff, and it struck our congregation here was um, just the kind of preparing the groundwork, hard slog. So it is
mm,
great that he's got a co-worker there, but our
Mm,
people were so taken with the needs of
mm,
Eastern Poland, and just the I suppose the godly courage, the godly boldness that Andy and his family have to go out into that situation and to recognize that this is going to be a long work preparing the ground, but
mm,
trusting that the Lord's going to bless this work. It's a great work, a great project, and something which encourages us in the church planting committee. But as I said, I mean, we have 2 Presbyterian churches here within a couple of miles, and both of them were at that meeting that Andy did his presentation, and everyone just went away just so encouraged and so excited about what the Lord is doing.
yeah, and I think that's the sort of vibe we had here in Chelmsford, and I think one of the things that I've been quite encouraged by in some of our plants anyway, and Andy's taken this to the nth degree, is the risk. So there's not a lot of people. It's not like in some churches and some cities where you might get people who just are a little bit dissatisfied with their evangelical church, and they come along, and Andy's the real deal, and they just get something a little bit more finely tuned. There is nothing there, and literally, there's I keep on coming back to a comment that the journalist Timothy Stanley said, who's a Catholic, writes in the Telegraph, and he said, "Don't worry about evangelicals. Evangelism is a game they play between themselves." And but Andy actually is doing the real thing, isn't he? He's going there, talking to people, and sharing the gospel with them. And for that, he'll need some support. So, how, as church planting committee goes, Andrew, how do we try and support our church planters?
So we do have a central fund, but it's quite small, and it's diminishing. That's the reality with the plants that we have. But our but we also our church planters are very. It's important that they raise their own support, and there are various ways that they can do that. But one of the things we're really excited about is what you've already alluded to, which is our partnership with EMF, with EMF's desire to plant congregations in Europe, and as we've said, people looking to us to support a reformed Presbyterian work. We look to provide accountability and support where we can, and experience from our other church planters. But financial support comes through various means. And we're grateful for the contacts which EMF have, especially with Presbyterian churches in Northern Ireland. And I know that Andy has a potential deputation coming up in April, where he will be looking to raise some support. But financial support is needed, and for any who want to get behind this project, which we feel strongly about and can highly commend and recommend. Any financial support would be gratefully received.
Yeah, and I was thinking as well. So obviously, finance is a big part of the support, a very practical part. But also, I suppose there's the other kinds of supports as well. So it's interesting that Andy's gone for, and Andy can answer this in a moment or say something about it. But that he's what's needed is ground zero level evangelism, and yet what he's doing is specifically doing a Presbyterian plant, and I guess that is because of the connectional thinking that we're theologically committed to. So things like assessor elders and some sort of pastoral support, and EMF offers some of that as well. Obviously, slightly different thing, but we have a member of staff who goes round and gives pastoral support to missionaries and connects them with other missionaries on the ground. But it's something that we want to make sure that in a year's time Andy's still sane and alive, and as well as being fed and watered and prayed for as well. But Andy, I mean, that is interesting. I mean, you specifically aren't, although you are doing the work of an evangelist. It is that you wanted to establish a healthy church. And so you're quite specific that your end goal is a Presbyterian congregation in Lublin.
Oh, absolutely. Right from day one, these are going to be doctrinal standards with the shorter, larger catechisms. Yeah, which is well, we believe it's a healthy understanding of what the Bible is teaching, but also it's, to have something like that is very beneficial for me as a church planter. Setting things aside as that this is what I believe from purely pragmatic level. In the places where you have a small number of churches and people do go from church to church, church to church, which is everywhere. When you have a church plant, then people want to negotiate the identity. And people come from all sorts of different backgrounds, different beliefs. And if they used to go to evangelical church and now they come to you, they have their own vision, but to have the doctrinal backbone is great, because this is what we believe. The church is going to look like. And
yeah, and no, sorry, Jeremy, but there's something I found, I guess Andrew's found as well, is that when we get people who some come from other churches, they do actually appreciate that sort of clarity. So although they may not be completely card-carrying Presbyterians, they appreciate that sort of, this is what we think, this is how we
absolutely,
have a systematic approach.
yeah.
Now, one of the things you said about Poland and Lublin in particular is, although it's great to have someone going in and like ground zero sort of evangelism, historically though that's not the case, is it? So historically, there's a lot of interesting Reformed history in your neck of the woods.
Yeah. So 500 years ago, if you would look at the religious map of Poland, obviously that was slightly bigger back then than it is today. So to the east, what today is Ukraine and Moldova, you would have Eastern Orthodoxy. The north, where Estonia is, you would have Lutherans. They would be in the majority. And really the rest of Poland would be still Rome. But in the Lublin region, Reformed would outnumber everybody else. That was amazing. We did have a strong Reformed witness, and even our William Shakespeare equivalents for Poland. They were Calvinists, and they were writing not just great poetry, great prose, but also speaking about the basics of the faith. But it was 500 years ago, and well, there is nothing in Lublin since 1627. So next year is going to be 400 years without a Reformed witness in Lublin. Well, pray not.
We're hoping not. No, and that's something to pray for, isn't it? Is fast blessings. Sorry, Andrew, you were.
No, I was just agreeing. I mean, you got there before me, really, to say we're praying that wouldn't be the case. And as things seem to be progressing, it seems it's not going to be the case. So we can give thanks to God. Give thanks to God for that. And I mean, Darren, just going back to what you were saying about support, and you use a term there, assessor elders, which may not be familiar to all listeners, and also from as different presbyteries use different terms. We say assessor elder. Some speak about lone elders. The idea of it is that Andy would not be some maverick on his own, that he would have elders who are appointed who would be elders already in a local congregation, but until such time as the church was fully constituted and was no longer a mission church, until that time that they have elders on the ground, there will be assessor elders appointed to whom Andy will be accountable, but also they are there for support for him. He'll also remain under the oversight of the Committee for Church Planting, sending a report to us on a regular basis, meeting with us talking through steps that are necessary, offering practical support for finances. What are the steps that are needed for the church to eventually to be a fully constituted church? So these are the sorts of support that we will be offering as the plant goes forward.
Yeah, that's really helpful, because I just slip into Presbyterianese, didn't even realize I was doing it. Yeah, no, that's right. And I think the thing as well that's helpful is there's sort of that formal support, and I guess informal support as well. So he has have his assessor elders, but there's the whole presbytery to draw on, and the church planting committee and so on. And we've got planters who I know some of the planters have already, Andy's found helpful in terms of being able to draw on some of their experience, both in this country and in Europe. And so it is something we're in together, isn't it? So I think everyone feels sort of by some degree invested in this plant. Yeah, I think probably we've covered all our bases, unless people can think of other things. But I think for people listening, and this wide audience that listens to GRUK, and seems suddenly Philippines. It was Honduras, now it seems to be the Philippines. And so if you're listening in the Philippines and you want to follow this up, now if you are interested, I think obviously, well, Andy can give some prayer points, but I think one of the things that struck me and I've been praying for is that we've talked about the long term, and this is sort of a 10-year project to get it going. And everyone's aware of that and ready for that. But I'd like to pray that we'd be wrong and that it would be much quicker. And I know, there's great godliness in perseverance and endurance, but it'd be great if we were in far further along the track quicker than we thought. So it'd be something to pray for. Also, if people are interested to know more about Lublin and how to give, you can give directly to EMF and say what it's for. But there will be, with our podcast, we always have on the blog some notes, and there's some links there to EMF, which will tell you about Lublin, about Andy, and also you can give directly through the link, and that works for the United States as well as for UK. But Andy, perhaps a good way, maybe Andrew as well, but as we close, give people some things to be going away and praying for.
Well, most importantly, please pray that the Lord will open the hearts of people in Lublin for the gospel, that they will love the Lord, that they will turn to Him, away from their sin, and they will love God, and they will be disciples that will grow. And yeah, a great vision is that, because Lublin is a university city. Did I say that we have 9 universities?
Yeah, it's incredible. Yeah.
And people from all over Eastern Poland, if they're not going to Warsaw, they are coming to us. And some are staying, but some are going to go back. So do pray for the people that will be potentially the best indigenous missionaries when they will go back to their own places.
Yeah.
That the Lord will prepare and open the hearts of the people. What greatly encourages us is that we started on YouTube like a short 15-minute long presentations of Westminster Confession of Faith together with other Presbyterian pastors from Poland. Once a week, every Friday, going chapter by chapter. And out of nowhere, really, without any advertising, we have, even 200 people watching our videos. And it's like, wow, that's amazing, because that shows that there is a hunger already, and that's encouraging. Continue to pray for the co-worker, Peter. That's his English name. Something that we spoke with the EMF earlier on. That meaningful partnerships, especially with like-minded Reformed Presbyterian churches, that's also something to pray for. And personally, accommodation for us, because that's something that is still an ongoing, matter for prayer. We still don't have a place where we could move into, and as we navigate the challenges of moving from UK to Poland, interesting ins and outs when it comes to changing. All the paperwork. And everything.
Sure. And we're very much praying for the support, because we know that's an ongoing issue as well. There's something you'll have to keep on raising prayer and financial support. And Andrew, is it with your church planting hat on, any particular things that people listening should be praying for to do with the wider EPCEW church planting vision?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a church planter, and I couldn't do what these guys do. But I can, anything I can do to raise awareness for what Andy
Mm,
and other guys are doing. I mean, it's an incredible work. What guys are doing in the UK, in the German-speaking world, now in Poland. It's just to pray for them, pray for their wives. It's hard on their
mm.
wives. I hear from church planters that being a church planter is not the hardest job in the world. Being a church planter's wife is the hardest job in the world. So pray for their families, um, and that the Lord will sustain them and bless them, and these much needed church plants will be well established, for future generations.
All this has been so encouraging. And what I'm hoping is that maybe in a year or two's time, we're going to do another podcast, the three of us, about the presbytery in Lublin. There's now planted, and in Warsaw and Gdansk and other places. So that's our vision and aim, isn't it? Is Lublin to flourish and there to be other churches like it around Poland. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. God bless you.